Hi, I'm Victoria Goldsmith.
And I'm David Lane.
And welcome to 10 O'Clock News.
So for our first topic today in national news is about how Apple could be forced to pay nearly $900 million to the University of Wisconsin-Madison. This is due to a patent design of Apple product hardware chips designed by people from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Apple is being sued for not keeping up their end of the bargain in the patent. This started in 2014 with the university suing Apple for patent infringement on their hardware chips, the A7, A8, and A8X chips. This case was settled and Apple was found to making an infringement on the patent, and the amount of money due to the university is still being settled. Just recently, last month, however, the university sued Apple once again for their most recent hardware chips to be released, the A9 and A9X, on the same account of infringement of a patent. What will the university do with all of that money, though? Free tuition? Ha ha ha.
You know what could help with paying some college tuition? $15 minimum wage. That was rejected at the November 10th Republican debate. This isn't exactly a statement that people being paid minimum wage would want to hear. However, some members of a group called Fight for 15 were happy this topic was even brought up in the Republican debate. The three Republicans that went head-on into this topic were Donald Trump, Marco Rubio, and Ben Carson. Donald Trump strongly felt minimum wage should stay as it is, and that people should just simply work hard to continue to get the income results they desire. Ben Carson and Marco Rubio, however, had a different approach, similarly stating this increase would make America more jobless due to companies having to let go more workers who aren't efficient enough to supplement the increase of pay. This topic is a good thing to bring up during a debate like this. President Obama and his administration have been pushing for an increase of $10.10 minimum wage, but there has been some issues passing it through Congress. Now imagine what someone could do with all of that money.
Yeah, maybe someone could pay more taxes since certain well-known companies can't help out like they could. Some U.S. companies have stashed trillions in tax safe havens overseas. A new report shows major companies are storing up to $2.10 trillion overseas in countries with lower or no tax rate. Nearly 3/4 of the companies on the Fortune 500 list, such as General Electric, Apple, and Microsoft, have been using these tax havens. The authors of the study, Robert S. McIntyre and Richard Phillips of Citizens Tax Justice, and Phineas Baxendale of the U.S. Purge Education Fund, urged Congress to take actions to fix the shell game problems and stop focusing U.S. taxpayers to make up the difference in tax revenue. To support the people of the study concluded, Congress can and should take strong action to prevent corporations from using the offshore tax havens, which in turn would restore basic fairness to the tax system, reduce the deficit, and improve the functioning of the markets.
Have you heard what one major company is investing in, though? Well, Ford is planning to invest $9 billion into its U.S. plants. After Ford's investment in 2011 of what became a more than expected $10.2 billion investment in U.S. factories, they now are investing in a $9 billion project that will create or keep about 8,500 jobs over the next 4 years, according to the United Auto Worker Union. The agreement with the investment, including the United Auto Worker Union and Ford, has been brought to the attention of Detroit's other top dog manufacturers, GM and Fiat Chrysler. GM is now proposing an investment into a project of $1.9 billion, and Fiat Chrysler with the investment of $5.3 billion.
In other news, you could be losing your passport because of the IRS. There are many lawmakers in the first stages of negotiation on a bill to help fund more highways and transit programs in the U.S. What does this have to do with the IRS and my passport, you might be wondering? Well, one provision in the lawmakers' plan would let federal government revoke, deny, or limit a U.S. citizen's passport if the person owes more than $50,000 in high tax debts. The IRS mainly would target people they have filed a lien or levy against and have yet to make a repayment plan with the IRS to to relieve some debt. There are high hopes this plan of action will take place for the IRS to make some more money to help fund the highway plan. It is not that difficult to add up debt to the IRS, so one way to really make people pay will be taking away some of their traveling rights.
In other news, United Health may exit Obamacare. There's some bad news for President Obama's signature health law of Obamacare. A dozen of insurers set up and funded by Obamacare have failed this year. However, the remaining ones are sure to hike up the price as they look to cover enrollees' medical bills. In fact, the benchmark silver plan is increasing and averages 7.5% nationwide. Another key factor is that the federal program designed to cushion health issues risk will have a massive shortfall and will only pay out 12.6% of insurers' claims for 2014. In fact, the Obama administration announced that it had only expected 10 million people to be covered by exchange policies by the end of 2016, which is a little higher than this year's goal of 9.1 million. United Healthcare plans on continuing with Obamacare in 2016 and expanding to 11 new markets. Dave Lichman, who is the chief financial officer, believes that they will see strikingly better performance on the insurance exchange business. However, the insurer reduced its fourth quarter earnings outlook by $425 million, or 26 cents a share, because of losses on exchange plans in 2015 and 2016. But Obama administration says that 2/3 are going to be returning customers, meaning 1.1 million for 2016.
For international news, China is predicted to hold the global economy back in 2016. China's economy may come to a slowdown predicted in 2016, leaving the U.S. economy to stay about the same. Europe will increase just slightly, while a big increase in India's economy will project the global economy to benefit it in 2016. The Conference Board is an economic outlook organization that provides projections for short, medium, and long-term output growth of the world's economy. The Conference Board forecasts the world economy will grow by 2.8% next year, just a slight improvement from 2.5% this year.
In other news regarding China is China's Cyber Monday smashes world records. China each year has their own form of Cyber Monday. Singles Day began as a clever counter to Valentine's Day. It takes place each year on November 11th, or 11/11, which represents 4 single people. Originally, lonely singles were encouraged to pamper themselves and other unattached friends by going shopping for gifts. Now, it's morphed into a crazy shopping bonanza that ranks in piles of cash for brands and retailers both big and small. And within the first 8 minutes of online sales, an online shopping platform called Alibaba gained $1 billion in sales. The Alipay service hit $14.3 billion in total, crushing last year's achievement of $9.3 billion. Some experts, however, are noticing the impact of online shopping that is making this, even like Singles Day, is becoming more of a normality instead of a special occasion due to an increase of online users each year, which I can totally relate because I love online shopping.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes tonight's news report. Thank you for watching, and stay classy, Dallas.